Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the Free for All podcast on the Renegade Pop Culture Network. This is Keona, your host, along with my usual suspects. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
Hey, I'm
What's
Jacob.
going on, guys? My name is Mike.
We were just
It was
testing out a new
already.
feature too.
Yeah, we're testing something out. Anyway, okay. Go ahead, Jacob first.
Okay, I'm Jacob Crable, and I am one of the writers for Renegade Pop Culture. I am writing the current 23 Marvelous Movies retrospective series. I'm currently in the middle of writing the
Man.
Avengers.
Awesome. All right, Mike.
What's going on, guys? My name is Mike. I'm the host of Renegade Pop Culture's Tuned Up podcast. And we have a great show lined up coming soon.
Sweet, for Tuned Up, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. And then you also have some other things in the works as well. That
Yeah.
We're not going to
We'll announce those in due time.
We'll announce those, yeah. Okay, and then we also have Josh and Kristal.
Hello, I am Joshua Lozano on YouTube. I'm known as JoshBoy64, and I just uploaded the final part in my 3-part series on the creative burnout of David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, the showrunners of Game of Thrones.
And I'm Kristal, creator, writer, and director of absolutely nothing.
Of your life. There you go.
Essentially.
But you're the
Yes.
squat sultan.
I am the squat sultan.
The squat sultan. Okay, explain to people what that means.
It's just this mini game in Final Fantasy where you do squat offs and pull up offs. That's pretty much it. And,
I'm so bad at that.
Yeah, I was the only one who was able to do it out of me and Josh. And I for the champion, like the pro level, for the pull-ups, it took me how many tries?
It took you too many to count.
Too many to count. I lost count.
Yeah. I got so mad at that I threw my controller.
I was this close to doing the same.
Yeah. I'm so mad at it. But anyway. Before we go on, because this is kind of our whatever show, so let's talk a little bit about Final Fantasy VII Remake and where you guys are at in that game, and what do you think of it so far?
Kristal has had a very interesting relationship with Final Fantasy VII Remake because she started out the game. We started out the game, and she hated. She started hating it.
I hated it so badly. I guess.
What did you hate about it?
I had never played a JRPG before, so it was very new to me, and
that's different.
It took a lot of warming up to, but my biggest problem with it is that the dialogue is so incredibly cheesy. I can't warm up to it.
Shinra will not succumb to terrorism.
Of course. Those guys are purposely cheesy, though. Those dudes were supposed to be cheesy.
Exactly.
Like, that's their whole purpose.
And then another thing that really bothered me was just the design of every NPC.
Yeah, that kind of got to me, too.
Yeah, they're so average, and they look like people, while all the main characters look like anime people, and it's so out of place.
It wasn't.
I think they could have done better with that.
It's a problem that I've seen with a lot of Square games where the main characters get a lot of effort put into their designs, but then the regular NPCs that don't have a big hold on the story, they cut a lot of corners. I've just been used to it. I expect it from I have different standards for different game developers. Like when I see a Naughty Dog game and I see some of the NPCs have facial features like the ones I saw in Remake, I'm going to be more critical of it. But when I see like the reverse, it's like, oh wow.
Yeah, because it's like, well, with Naughty Dog too, what they're going for is more realistic sort of people, and with Final Fantasy VII, they're not really going for that, even though some of the NPCs do look pretty drab, like normal.
Yeah, and I will say, with how long this game was in development, there is no excuse for how bad some of the textures are and how bad the facial animation is.
I think Tony brought up in the gaming podcast that like some of the textures were ridiculous, and I would see it here and there, but it wasn't until I left the game for a little while and then I walked outside the gym and everything looked like it was rendered on an N64.
Yeah, it was just incredibly blurry all around, and it would stay like that, and it would like come in way too late.
I think what they're going to do with this is they're probably going to re-release it on the next gen systems and make it, because I think that they pushed it as far as it could go.
Yeah,
in terms of like,
our PS4
you know, like
is
they
working.
prioritize certain things.
Yeah, our PS4 is working extremely hard.
But
Yeah,
Kristal at the end of the day has come around on it hard.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the world building and I'm enjoying the characters, but only the main characters. Like Aerith, I love her.
I love her too.
Yeah, she's my waifu.
There was
I am such an Aerith. I'm such an Aerith now.
There was nothing more amazing than seeing the big thing happen in Chapter 9, the big dance off, and seeing Kristal just go completely nuts with it, and seeing
I knew it.
Father-in-law, who is a hardcore Marine, just kind of shrivel up and just be like, God.
He was a lot more explicit with his opinions, but we're not going to be saying that.
Chapter 9 was the greatest thing, I think, in that whole entire game. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm noticing.
It was the best. We'll talk about it on the spoiler podcast eventually, but all I have to say is Aerith's reaction killed me.
And she was just moving back and forth. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, she was so into it. Love that. I love that character. Anyway, okay, guys. So Mike and Jacob are very quiet right now, but
sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. So let's move on here. So does anybody have any kind of news or anything that they want to talk about? Because this is kind of our general discussion show. So let's start off with that. Okay, Jacob, what you got?
Okay. The biggest development in the streaming / VOD wars is that Universal, high off the success of Trolls World Tour, announced that they will be distributing movies simultaneously in theaters and VOD, depending on what movie it is that they're distributing. And AMC was none too happy about this and announced that they are not going to be releasing any more Universal movies in the future. They're not going to be
Regal too.
Yeah, they're not going to be showing any Universal or Focus feature titles in the coming years, which is absolutely insane because Universal has Jurassic World, the Jurassic World franchise. They have the Fast and Furious franchise. They have the Minions franchise. They own DreamWorks Animation. And that's a lot of potential money that AMC is passing up.
Jeez.
Well, do you think that they're actually going to go through with this?
Or
do you think
so.
that they're you think that they're just kind of laying their cards on the table and are just like, this is the ultimatum, either you play ball with us or your movies are done as far as theaters go?
I think AMC is on the verge of bankruptcy right now. So, yeah, this is a real shoot in the foot that they're doing right now. And yeah, so I can't imagine this progressing that much longer. Like, I think at some time they are going to have to concede that not all of Universal movies are demanding to be shown in theaters. Like their Focus feature titles, for instance. Like, I think those have never done incredibly well for obvious reasons. They're just not that audience friendly, for instance, like Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, for instance. That's the movie that people are probably just fine watching at home on their smart TV or their tablet or their laptop. So I think that AMC can let that go by, but I do think that they are just kind of jumping the gun on this. Yes, Mike.
Okay, Mike, what's your opinion on this? What's your take?
I have two things. One, I absolutely do not think that AMC, Regal, and all the other theater chains are going to. I don't think they're going to be as strict about this for a couple reasons. One, 2021 is going to be a big year for Universal with, Jurassic World Dominion, Fast and Furious 9, and Minions of all things. But to be honest, we wouldn't be in this situation at all had Universal not done something to upset NATO in the first place, which is releasing Trolls World Tour on VOD without consulting them first. That's because the whole thing about the relationship between studios and distributors is there's always been like a certain level of respect for the theatrical window. And when Universal said, hey, we're just going to toss Trolls World Tour on VOD, while also kind of lying to their the consumer, saying it'll also be available in theaters when they know full well that theaters won't be open, NATO's like, yeah, that's not cool, so you have to be punished.
Yeah, basically, the reason why they haven't forgotten that is because Universal didn't do what most or all of the other studios did, which was that they checked in with the theater owners, which is NATO, the North American theater owners, and basically said that we're going to release some movies on premium VOD or on VOD, and being that this is most theaters are closed and that this is the times that we live in, that seems to be the way to go for us. And then Universal, what they did with Trolls World Tour is that they just kind of stuck it on VOD and didn't really talk about it. Didn't really go to NATO and say, like, this is our plan. Apparently, this is what happened, but, who knows, right? Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of, I think that it's kind of like, okay, this is sort of your consequence for that decision. So I don't know. We'll see how it all turns out. Anyway, Josh, Kristal, any thoughts?
I'm so glad that you guys cleared up who NATO is, because I thought for the longest time you're talking about the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. I'm like, wait a
minute. This whole situation is kind of nuts, because I saw a lot of people that were saying, like, AMC is being ridiculous without considering what Mike was talking about, which is, I working in a theater, like, I got to see like how really like distributing movies is kind of a really big thing, just kind of fighting to be able to have a venue to show anything, and at the same time trying to consider, like, well, the more popular movies that a theater's getting, the more they're able to sustain their employees. I remember working at a movie theater before everything went down, and I remember for the longest time it was up in the air whether or not we were going to get Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that we were competing with a theater literally down the road to get Aladdin shown, and we lost. So something like that, I view it more as AMC looking out for their employees. Well, it's still obviously a money thing, but even then, I also think AMC, this is a pretty huge, complicated battle, and with the way everything's looking, this was probably a really bad thing to make public.
Oh, yeah.
Like, on this scale, when you're this upset, you could at least, like, talk about it privately and then release a statement after the fact.
Yeah. Jacob?
One thing I forgot to mention, Universal also announced that they're going to be releasing the new Judd Apatow comedy, The King of Staten Island, onto VOD. And that's quite a bit different from when they released Trolls World Tour, because with Trolls World Tour, that made sense. That was a family movie. It had an all-star cast. You know, it was for families that really needed something to show their kids when they're all cooped up in their homes. And yeah, but this is a Judd Apatow movie, and Judd Apatow is not known for making family-friendly movies. So this is a big development in their distribution model. So it's basically, you know, the sky's the limit in terms of which Universal movies will be released, except for, as we mentioned, big blockbuster titles like Fast and Furious and Jurassic World. Universal's probably going to prefer to put those movies into theaters. And AMC, the biggest American movie theater chain, is shutting its door at them, and they're like, well, no one's going to want to see these movies for the first time on video on demand. So we're kind of screwed here. Yes, Mike?
This will be the first test to see if like premium video on demand is really the way of the future. I know a lot of people like to be all doom and gloom when it comes to movie theaters, and I don't think they're ever really going to go away. But I feel like what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years is that we'll see a pretty even split between which movies will be playing in theaters and which will be playing on demand.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is such a sought after thing for Universal is because the difference between the theatrical model and releasing on demand is like when you put something in theaters, they like the studio only keeps like 50% at most. But when you release something on demand, it like their profits go up to, you know, keeping
80%.
at the very least 80%.
Yeah. Yeah, Keona?
Yeah, so I think what Mike brought up is a very interesting point, because now we're going to see if VOD can actually survive, if movies can survive on VOD, I should say, without a theatrical release. With Trolls World Tour, it seems like it's done pretty well for itself, honestly, just off VOD. Like, hasn't it crossed like 100 million or something, according to what I've read?
Yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
It made like 10
Yeah,
times
so I mean,
their previous highest video on demand release, which was Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
That's a decent amount of money there. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, I know like big, huge tentpole blockbusters probably wouldn't be able to survive on VOD, but do you guys think that the smaller movies would be able to?
Definitely.
Josh and Kristal, any thoughts?
What do you think, Kristal?
I honestly don't know. All that I can think right now is I really couldn't care less about AMC. I really hate them. You guys know my opinion about AMC.
Well, I've got a thing to counteract this, that I think this is going to be VOD's, video on demand's biggest, most defining year because of what happened with the Academy. Did you guys hear about this?
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, apparently the Academy Awards, like they announced that for the first time, because of how special this year has been, they're going to say that they're letting only for this year, we'll see how long that lasts, some films that debuted on a streaming service without a theatrical run will be eligible for nominations.
Yeah.
So that's going to be that is huge news for me, because I keep up with the Oscars every year for YouTube, and that is going to be torture on my end.
Yeah. Interesting.
Oddly enough.
All right. Any other topics you guys have?
Oh, well, I think it's going to be a little bit easier on you because now you don't have to go to watch every single Best Picture nominee.
Oh, I still got it, but
Well, I mean, in theaters.
If anything, the biggest thing that came from the Oscar announcement that I find a lot of people aren't talking about is some of the other things that they're doing on there. Like they're gonna start stopping DVD screeners for the 2022 Oscars, and they're also going to be combining the two sound categories into one.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay, Mike.
What do you guys think of that?
Well, since they are combining two categories, leaving one potentially open, hey guys, how about we finally start giving stunt actors and choreographers recognition,
Mhm.
Oh,
or
yeah.
casting
I like that.
directors or anything of that sort?
That would be nice. Acknowledge, hey, we exist finally. Jacob?
One thing I love for them to have a category for is for upcoming actors. Actually, that would be really cool. Like I was thinking, it was a real shame that Roman Griffin Davis wasn't nominated for Jojo Rabbit.
Like Thomasin McKenzie, the girl who played Elsa, or even the boy that played Jojo himself. Yeah, I could see them like winning awards, or even Florence Pugh, who was nominated for Little Women, but I know like she had a pretty good year last year with that and Midsummer and Fighting with My Family.
Oh yeah, she's definitely an actress to
yeah.
look for, like in the coming movies and stuff. And yeah, I think that that would be a perfect way for. Also, it would be really sweet if Zach Goodsakin was nominated for the Peanut Butter Falcon. That'd be cool.
I didn't get to see it.
It's really good. I saw it 3 times in theaters just because I wanted to support like that little movie that could.
Yeah. Also,
All right, guys. Any other bits of news? Or sorry, Jacob, I cut off your thought. What were you gonna say?
oh no, I wasn't really gonna. I didn't really have anything to say. Really, I just think. Yeah, I like how the sound categories are combining because it gets so confusing, like which one is which sometimes, and I constantly have to look up the difference between sound mixing and sound effects editing. Yeah, Josh?
I think that's just more on how they present it at the Oscars, which I've always taken issue with, because sound mixing for listeners that don't know, sound mixing is when you combine all the sounds and make them work in the film, and sound editing is literally creating the sounds.
Yeah.
So like in my
Okay.
opinion, it's all on the Academy for never making that distinction, because if they did, more people would be upset, like the few people that are, because you got to think like people like Ben Burt and all of them, the people that at Lucasfilm that created those iconic sound effects for Star Wars. Nobody knows how they did it unless they happen to look at behind the scenes documentaries like me, because I have no life.
Hey, I like behind the scenes documentaries too. Oh boy.
On Star Wars, there is one thing that I do have that broke right before we started recording. So not really broke, but it's like another thing that people are upset about with Star Wars. I hope you guys are ready for it. So you know how the Clone Wars has been wrapping up its series this on Disney Plus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I guess Sam Witwer, who was he the voice? Is he the voice of Anakin on Clone Wars, or who does
Sam Witwer is the voice of. I think he did the Emperor. He also did Darth Maul. He did the voice of Darth Maul on that, and he was also on Battlestar Galactica.
Oh.
He was Crashdown, which is where I know him from originally. So, good actor.
Well, apparently he started making some big headwaves for people who don't like the sequel trilogy for saying that the sequels suck. His personal opinion. And people started running with that as validation that this is what Disney's doing wrong and this and this and that.
Just his personal opinion.
It's just
you can
his
agree with
personal-
it or not agree.
I don't get why, but I don't know what the hell is up with Star Wars fans. Nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
Exactly.
Mike?
As someone who once worked with a very passionate Star Wars fan, I know firsthand that something that really bothers me is when fans take any soundbite that comes from like either a former actor or a current actor in Star Wars, and they just run with whatever they say.
Mm-hmm.
For example, throughout like the promotional cycle for The Last Jedi, Mark Hamill would say like pretty much everything about like I am fundamentally against this version of Luke Skywalker, and then like people just assume that meant like he secretly hated the movie, when really he's only describing like the start of the development.
Yeah, sort of. It was kind of like they missed the context of what he was saying, because he was saying that on paper he was against like that version of Luke or what they did with Luke, but then he started to really delve into it and started to actually, get into the character and sort of try to suss out where Luke was. And I think he sort of turned around after that, and he was like, I'm sure he was happy with the movie. He got a job out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a paycheck. Whether or not, regardless of how you feel about it, at the end of the day, it's money in the pocket.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing. But I mean, I think that he really did come around, and I think he really did enjoy The Last Jedi for what it was. I think that's the key. It's for what it is. The Last Jedi was very different, and and I'm a staunch defender of that movie, but I think that I don't think it's perfect. I think that it just depends on your outlook, really. I didn't like Rise of Skywalker. I thought Rise of Skywalker was just a nostalgia bomb. But that's just me. Anyway, Jacob, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mark, he probably really appreciates Last Jedi because it was the last time he got to work with Carrie Fisher.
That too, yeah.
Yeah. To add to what you said, Joshua, I think people who just simply don't like Star Wars because it's just not their thing or whatever, they still like it more than the people who claim to be its biggest fans.
For me, it's apples and oranges between people that really like something with that burning passion that they gatekeep their favorite parts about it, compared to people that are getting into it now because of this new trilogy. If there's one thing that I admire about this new trilogy, is that, well, same with the prequels and same with the cartoons and the shows and Mandalorian, it's that it opens up a new generation for Star Wars fans, new people that otherwise would never have watched it or are coming together to watch things about it. Like, I have a friend that she does not care about Star Wars at all. I barely got her to watch, not that it's related, but I barely got her to watch Into the Spider-Verse, and she had only ever seen the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, and she loves that. And the only reason why she likes Star Wars, anything remotely associated with it, is because of Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. Like, these things are gateways. One last thing, on the thing with Sam Witwer. So he literally went on Twitter just to clarify what he said, because people were starting to take his stuff out of context and be like, you see, he says fuck Ryan Johnson, screw Kathleen Kennedy. And he got into it with somebody. And he was like, were you privy to the conversation and what was said before and after that? Or are you just reacting to someone grabbing a sliver of a quote from someone trying to get a rise out of you? And that same person responded, perhaps maybe you should think about what you're saying so people can't take slivers out of conversations and take what you meant out of context. I'd love to know what you actually meant. And Sam responded to that guy, Tiff, I went on to say, not that long after, Star Wars must be put in new hands if it's going to continue, and that people like Ryan Johnson need to have a chance at bat. So, are you mad at me or at the clickbaiter?
Yeah, that's a meg in your face.
Mega
Yeah.
oof.
Yeah. Yeah, the sequel trilogy, the main problem they had with it was they just had it was just a bad idea having two different directors for the entire trilogy. Like, I understand that Colin Trevorrow had to leave because of creative differences, and after watching Rise of Skywalker, I really, really wish we could have seen his version of it. Like how the sequel trilogy should have played out was Force Awakens was our nostalgic trip. It was like a nice down the memory lane. It would have been meant to ease us into this new cast of characters, So, like they kind of start off as archetypes, but they do show that they have a deeper side to them. So, okay, but we're just going to show you the greatest hits from the original trilogy to make you feel like you're watching Star Wars, okay? Then The Last Jedi was going to give you what you want from a Star Wars movie, but just shook it to the core. Like, it'd be more of a balance between something new and something different, something familiar and something different. I think Ryan Johnson pulled it off brilliantly. Okay, I'm like, okay, this is the next step I was looking for. This is the Star Wars movie. They're already starting to introduce different concepts. Okay, so this sequel trilogy is going to stand on its own. It's going to be its own unique thing. Okay, cool. And Rise of Skywalker should have been the balls to the wall, crazy mix up. This is where we explore different territories of the Star Wars universe that we didn't even think about. This would have been like, holy shit type of just barn burner sort of stuff. But no, it played itself so safe and so like this is not the safe type of movie you do for the conclusion of a trilogy, especially when you already started with a safe little trip down the southern lane. Like, that just and it also doesn't help because they had two different directors of wildly different directing styles. J.J. Abrams, who plays things safe, okay? He doesn't have his own distinct voice at all. And Ryan Johnson, who is known for making movies that deconstruct basic templates, like Looper and Knives Out, for instance. So if we could have just had a J.J. Abrams trilogy or a Ryan Johnson trilogy, maybe it wouldn't have been perfect, it may have been great, but at least it would have had a consistent flow to it. But
yeah.
Okay.
I think they may have started out with a roadmap, but it just got shredded after Force Awakens and after Last Jedi. Definitely after Last Jedi divided the fan base.
Okay, yeah.
And then they were just like, well, screw that, Yeah, Josh, go ahead.
Oh my god, I've never heard you so angry, Jacob.
I hope you liked it.
The thing is, I loved it. I loved it to bits.
Now I know how you feel.
I mentioned before, like all the way back to I think our first Free for All podcast. I wasn't against three different voices taking part in the trilogy just because it felt appropriate to the original trilogy, and also because that was one of the biggest problems that people had with the prequel trilogy, which was Lucas had too much creative control in the prequels. But I think I've mentioned before, Trevorrow's script, which I really liked, just suffered from, I like to call them first draft problems, which
Yeah.
a lot of things that they could have changed, like taking out the whole subplot or at least reworking it where it feels more natural instead of the classic Trevorrow awkwardness with Ray and Poe having a relationship, or at least
That's
a
weird.
flirtationship. Like, eventually you warm up to it as you read it, but when it just jumps straight into it, it's like, wait, what? But in my mind, J.J. Abrams is all about making you feel safe and familiar, bringing you back to new ground, but giving you lovable characters. Rian Johnson was about taking you out of that comfort zone and challenging what makes you safe. And Trevorrow is all about leaving you satisfied. Like, I think most people can say the best part about Jurassic World is that finale. Just because it's so... It's stupid, but it's satisfying to see the T-Rex fight the I-Rex. Like, it's just so stupid, kaiju fun, but it's so big and bombastic, and Michael Giacchino's scores kicking. It's so awesome. And the way Rise of Sky, or Duel of the Fates, as it was called, was going to end. It was going to be a big climactic war, civil war, on the streets of Coruscant with Finn leading a First Order rebellion. Like, it just blows my mind that in the sequel trilogy, with the exception of Last Jedi, they barely acknowledged the prequels, if at all. Like,
Yeah.
I remember being blown away watching it for the first time at the theaters, hearing Luke Skywalker say, at the height of Darth Sidious's, at the height of the Jedi's power, they allowed Darth Sidious to, take over and wipe them all out. I was just like, oh my god. Luke Skywalker acknowledged Episode 3.
Yeah, Keona?
I think what it is that, like, with that movie in particular, it's about Luke basically becoming disillusioned. And I think maybe it's that, like, if you haven't gone through that kind of disillusionment in your life, maybe you don't really get it. Or maybe you handled it differently, and so the way that he handled it is different. I don't know. Do you think that that's the case? I mean, what do you guys think on that? Because I think that for me, I have gone through that level of disillusionment, and I related to that a lot, and that's why, like, it didn't ring false to me.
What do you think, Mike? Or Jacob, what do you think?
Well, I think that people forget that, you're a different person than you were 30 years ago. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And here's another thing. People bring that up and have a problem with that. Like, J.J. Abrams is the one who put Luke on the island in the first place at the end of Force Awakens. So, like, what did Star Wars fans, what do they think Luke was doing on the island? It wasn't like he was going to recruit his own Jedi army or anything on that. Like who would have, like, the Pogs, were they going to be the Porgs, were they going to be his
The pugs.
Jedi? So, yeah. And honestly, I gotta say,
I would have liked to have seen a Porg Jedi.
honestly,
Porg with a little lightsaber.
when I saw Last Jedi in theaters, they clapped at the end. Honestly, and that doesn't happen that often for me. Like, they loved it. They cheered when Snoke got killed. They cheered, and I did too, because Snoke is just not a compelling villain at all. He's just Palpatine 2.0. Like, I never thought that. I never really needed to know his backstory. I never needed to know that. And they cheered when Luke survived the blast and did that awesome shoulder move where he just wipes his shoulder. That was an awesome thing. Okay. And okay, Mike, your turn.
The thing about Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi is that when you really take a deep dive into into that film's portrayal, Luke hasn't changed. It like this isn't like a drastic change for his character. He still kind of makes like impulsive decisions, like how he handled Kylo Ren during those flashback scenes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that kind of bothers me about people who don't like The Last Jedi, because they think that it's a betrayal of Luke's character, when really like things with him stay fairly consistent.
Yeah.
And you got to remember too that he was sort of influenced by the dark side in that moment, because he was shown that vision of the future where he heard like all the voices of people dying and everything, and it was going to be Ben's fault. And I don't know. To me, it made sense to me. And I like that whole sequence where it was just like, it was from his perspective, then Kylo's perspective, and then the truth is somewhere in the middle. I just think that was a brilliant thing, because I think that that's true.
Yeah.
It's true to life.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Jacob.
When people freak out about that, they're like, this is the same Luke who saw goodness in Darth Vader. What the hell? Why would he try to kill his own nephew? And I'm like, it's not like this was a premeditated decision, all right? Like, Luke, it was like a spur of the moment, okay? It was just a knee-jerk reaction, how anyone would, and immediately when he just felt shame that, like, oh my God, what was I gonna do? All right, and it was only so people, they just act like Luke was always planning to kill Kylo Ren, and he wasn't. Like,
No.
you would just pay any attention to that at all. And also, okay. First of all, Joshua, I want to say, if you think I'm being entertaining with my anger, the day after I saw Rise of Skywalker, I explained to this lady at my work, at my job, explaining my disappointment with it. She's an older woman. She's not into Star Wars at all, and she thought I was hilarious. How disappointed I was.
Oh my God.
Okay. All right, Joshua, your turn.
Well, I got two thoughts to it. First off, I think people that overlook Last Jedi are just like, just everybody, they ruined Star Wars or whatever. I kind of am a little bit shocked that most of them don't point out that. Do you agree with me on this, Kristal? Like, thinking back to all the Star Wars movies, think back to all of them, guys. Even the original trilogy, even the prequels, even the new prequels. God, it feels weird to say that. In my opinion, Last Jedi has the best acting out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Mark Hamill, oh my God, every time I watch the movie, I get chills just seeing Mark Hamill just completely losing himself. Like that moment where he's explaining to Rey his version of what happened, and Rey's like, but it's not your fault. It's like, it is my fault because I'm Luke Skywalker. Like, you can see how much he's holding back the tears, restraining himself from breaking down in front of her. And when she says, Ben, Kylo Ren left you down, I won't. And he's still got the water in his eyes. It's just, and the last thing I'll say before I hand the baton over to Mike, you kind of see how Rian Johnson handles a character who's been disillusioned compared to J.J. Abrams very clearly, just because, in my opinion, Han was in the same position as Luke in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
You guys ever think about that? Like, both characters kind of shirked their responsibilities and ran away to their comfort zone, with Luke is literally running away from responsibility. For Han, it was just regressing back to being a smuggler. And they're both called to action, but J.J. Abrams more handled it in a way of, let's have people love Han again. Remember Han? He's so cool. He's so smooth. And there's only hints of the tragedy that he was just a terrible father. and Rian Johnson just lets you marinate. Like, Luke made one bad decision, and you can see how much it eats him up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I see that.
Right, Mike?
Tell that to Kanja Club.
Okay, so one more thing about the Star Wars trilogy before we move on to something else. A fun fact about The Last Jedi: of all 5 movies in the Disney era, this is the one movie that was completed on time, had no like production troubles or anything, save for, you know, initial disagreements between Ryan and Mark about characterization. But as far as like the production of the film, like everything ran smoothly. So I just find it ironic how like this is the movie that broke the fandom, where the Force Awakens went through a couple drafts before Lawrence Kasdan signed on, and the Rise of Skywalker. Honestly, I'm surprised that movie even like came out in what like the way it did.
Yeah. So before we move on from the Star Wars topic, which I know it's May the 4th tomorrow, so May the 4th be with you all. And I just want to ask you guys, do you have anything that you like in Rise of Skywalker? Is there any bright spots at all for you?
Yes. There's a lot, but Jacob?
I know there's something I did like, but I liked the part where Kylo reunites with Han. I liked that just because I got to see Harrison Ford one more time.
I did like that.
Yeah, I liked the chase scene and the desert planet. That was really cool. I liked Anthony Anderson. Anthony Anderson was funny as, and not Anthony Daniels. I'm sorry, as C-3PO. He got some of the best lines. I'm just gonna say this one more thing. I find it hilarious that Star Wars fans are all of a sudden acting like George Lucas is just Jesus now after so many years. It's like before Last Jedi, they were like, "What the hell, midichlorians? There's a scientific explanation for the Force." And then after Last Jedi, they're like, well, you see, the midichlorians are just how the Jedi connect with the Force. They're not the literal Force. They're acting like they've always. They act like they've always. I think the vast majority of people who hate Last Jedi are the ones who are like millennials who grew up in the 90s of it, with the 90s, you know.
That could be.
That makes sense, but okay, yeah, Mike.
About Rise of Skywalker, I've only seen of the new trilogy. This is the one I've seen the least. Like I've only seen it twice.
Same.
It's kind of like my experience with Justice League. Like I think I even gave both on Letterboxd like the same star rating. That like while I was watching it, I enjoyed like the experience of like, you know, seeing all the characters on screen one last time. The music, while famous YouTuber Sideways ripped to shreds, I thought you know, still was effective because it's John Williams.
Well, he kind of ripped to shreds the how they edited it in the movie. Like he didn't really say that the score itself was bad.
Just the way it was,
the way that they used it. Yeah.
But anyway, I think like on a very surface level that I enjoyed getting to see one last hurrah of this like the Skywalker saga, but if you ask me any like specific details, I'd be hard pressed to come up with like a top 10 or anything. That's how little impact Rise of Skywalker had on me compared to something like The Last Jedi, which I think is probably the second or third best Star Wars movie ever.
Josh?
Well, I'm gonna ask Kristal. Kristal, what did you like? Name one thing at least from Rise of Skywalker that you liked.
I honestly can't. Honest to God, I hated it.
Me too.
You sat on it for a while.
Yeah, there's honestly no redeeming qualities that I can identify in it. I mean, I hated the score. It was just fan service. And I hated how they just faked out all of the bad things that happen.
Thank you.
Yes. It's just constant fake outs where it's like, oh, something bad happened. No, it didn't. Oh, something bad happened. No, it didn't.
That's J.J. Abrams.
I think the one scene that exemplifies that is right when Rey like tells everybody that Chewie's alive, and then Carrie Russell, I forget her name, I think it was Zori Bliss. She asked I think Poe, like, is Chewie on that ship? And Poe just says, I guess? Like, people point out, like, the whole meme of somehow Palpatine has returned, and the look on Oscar Isaac's face when he delivers that line, I think that's the meme of the movie. Just, I guess?
It's just so...
Palpatine didn't even return in any of the movies. He returned in an event on Fortnite.
I remember walking out of the theater and saying, now I know why people said that you needed to play Fortnite before you watched the movie.
I mean, it's an audio clip. It's not like, it's an audio clip of him just threatening the galaxy. Why they did that in Fortnite, I don't know. Other than it's a hot game and everybody plays it, but I don't play it. I don't want to play it. I don't care about it. And yeah, anyway, Jacob.
Okay, I'm just going to say, like, it is ironic that J.J. Abrams, he always has his mystery boxes, and yet, he's the maverick, he's the interesting, when his movies are just always so safe. Like, remember Super 8? How he builds that up so much. Like, ooh, what's attacking the town? What's attacking the town? It's a monster. It's exactly like... the same with Cloverfield. J.J. Abrams is, for the most part, just an awful writer. He's a terrible storyteller. He does not know how to end anything. I think, yeah, it's just, I hate all the I hate all the pandering to the fans. Like, oh, turns out that Snoke was just Palpatine all along. And also, I hate that. Oh, it turns out that Rey actually does have legitimate, meaningful lineage. Oh, it turns out that Jesus Christ. I hate how they talk of C-3PO. Oh wow, his memory's all wiped. Oh no, it isn't. I hate.
God, it's just so cheap.
Exactly.
At least George Lucas.
And also, what also pissed me off was that Rose was barely in this, and you cannot tell me that wasn't to appease the fanboys. You cannot.
Yeah, that was definitely Disney just walking that back.
That is what pisses me off the most about J.J. Abrams. I'm not a huge movie buff, but I do pay attention sometimes. And one thing that I've noticed with him is that he will introduce these strong, independent women characters, female roles, but they do jack shit. They do nothing. They do nothing to help the plot. They're just their whole character archetypes are that they're strong women.
Stand back, folks. This is the political episode.
Okay, Mike.
Oh boy. Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
I have to disagree with one of Jacob's points that J.J. Abrams is a terrible director. Terrible is too strong a word for J.J. I think he's like exactly middle of the road. The reason why The Force Awakens is as good as it is because Lawrence Kasdan is a terrific writer, and he did the best job of striking that balance between getting Star Wars fans like kind of readjusted to smoothly transitioning them from like the original trilogy into this new era. But Abrams on his own, with the help of Chris Terrio, they just couldn't crack they couldn't crack the story for what's supposed to be like the big epic finale. And as someone who's a fan of Chris Terrio's work on Batman v Superman, that I'm even more disappointed in what he contributed, or maybe even didn't contribute to the Rise of Skywalker.
Okay. Well, Keona, do you mind if I say something for a little bit?
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay. I think you just made a case against what you just said for me by saying you liked Chris Terrio's work on Batman v Superman, Mike.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm sorry, but yeah, I do think maybe Chris Terrio does have some blame for this. Yeah, I honestly do. And no, you know what? This isn't even a problem with Rise of Skywalker and its place in the trilogy, but okay, so Palpatine has Rey come over to kill him because that will be more powerful, okay? And Rey isn't willing to do that, okay? It'll make her a Sith, but clever. She has a brilliant way of how to defeat him, okay? She wasn't going to give him what he wanted. You know what she's going to do? What her solution is?
What?
She kills him. She kills Palpatine, but differently.
Oh my god.
Class A writing. That is just Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
Okay. So
I'm
okay, go on, Keona. Go on.
He'll be right back. I want to jump on Mike real quick because I agree with him that I don't think J.J. Abrams is a bad director. In fact, you brought up Super 8. I'm doing a video soon. I don't know how soon, just because after creative burnout, I do not want to think about editing for at least a week. But
I'd ask you, please, more than a week.
But I'm doing a video on directors, a series on directors' passion projects, or just artist passion projects in general. And Super 8, I think, is the perfect distillation of J.J. Abrams, because I don't think he's a bad director at all. I think he really does know what he's doing, and he knows how to make basic scenes. He knows how to make scenes just nostalgic enough that people feel familiar, but just modern enough that it doesn't have the slow pacing of movies of yesteryear. Like, I'll say this, like looking at movies like The Goonies and even to an extent E.T., you can feel how much of the times they are with the pacing of the camera movement and the editing. So the fact that J.J. Abrams can make something like that snappy, I think that's a credit to him, even if he moves the camera way too much for his own good.
Yeah, well, why don't you try coming up with your own damn ideas for a change?
And on one last thing before
Okay. I never said he was a bad director. I just said he was a bad storyteller. Proceed.
Yeah. That is totally fair. And one last thing I will say before I hand it off to Keona. One good thing about Rise of Skywalker, I'm going to be fair here. I think the set design is still spectacular.
I'll
like
give
just
you that.
One thing that I will give this movie, it goes to a million freaking like locations in the span of like 5 minutes. And one thing I will give J.J. Abrams, because I think he knew what he was getting into and just didn't want to give the audience a second to rest. But literally, there are so many locations here and so many tricks that Abrams comes up with that I think he really went above and beyond for stuff like that. Like the scene where Ren and Rey have a lightsaber fight in between their forced Skype calls. Like,
Yeah,
all of Abrams' props
yeah,
built on that.
That was cool. Okay, that part was cool. I forgot to mention that. Okay, Keona, your turn.
And yeah.
Oh, go on, Josh. Finish your
just
thought.
like in general, like especially that scene. I think what I heard was that they built an entire set within the set just for that fight scene. So it's not even CG. Like that is physical. Them going back and forth between the different locations.
Yeah, I think what you were saying about that, I think is very true. Like set design, it was really good. Like visually, it's still a good looking movie. Like that's a pretty cool thing about it. I think that considering the time constraints and the fact that they had to come up with a new story because Disney, basically lost their shit. I think that they had to do what they had to do. So I guess what they came up with could have been a lot worse than it was. Which I know is hard to believe, but imagine it though. Imagine if they had given it to some. Imagine if Uwe Boll directed Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker.
Well, of course they
we would be in a far worse
him.
position than we are now.
Of course not.
I'm just saying. No, I'm just saying. Imagine though, we could have been stuck with somebody like that, like a jobber director. So I mean, of course they're not going to give it to Uwe Boll, but I'm just saying that like. Imagine if they had some nobody schmuck come off the street and try to direct a Star Wars movie. Like, it wouldn't have worked. So I think we have to give him some credit. And I think that there are J.J. Abrams movies that I have liked. Like, I liked Cloverfield.
That was Matt Reeves.
That was a Matt Reeves movie. Yeah, that was. But, I mean, he was the producer on it, so, we're talking about bad robot movies, J.J. Abrams movies. I will say that, like, I'm more with Mike when it comes down to like BVS and stuff. Like I kind of agree with him on that one. Like I think Batman versus Superman was pretty cool. It could have been a lot cooler, but it was what we got. I think that for Rise of Skywalker though, there are certain aspects of it that I really, really like. Like I'll never not like a John Williams score. It's just impossible for me to not like a John Williams score. So for me, the score is fine. The way that they used it, I kind of agree with the guy on YouTube, Sideways. Yeah. I kind of agree with his take on it. I think that visual effects wise, it was really good. Raylo didn't even bother me. Like that didn't bug me so much. I just kind of laughed it off because I was like, well, of course he's gonna. Ben's turn back to the light was good. I think that. Yeah, I mean, he's basically the Darth Vader, so of course he's going to turn back to the light, even though he says he doesn't want to. But it's an obvious, like he's obviously just putting that on as a brave face. Like he knows what he's doing is wrong. You can tell. And then at the end of Last Jedi, he's just running on rage and testosterone the dude's just off his rocker, so he's just going to go, he's going to do what he has to do. And that means killing a lot of people. That's Kylo Ren for you.
Okay, sure.
I just think, I think that for me personally, Rise of Skywalker is not a good movie, but I do appreciate certain things in it. I think they did the best that they could in the amount of time that they had. I wish it was better, but I guess this is what we're stuck with. And I wish that they had used Ian McDiarmid a lot more and in a better way, because when you have him, and he's like the MVP
Definitely.
of the whole movie series, in my opinion, of the whole saga, he's like the MVP. So, the way that they used him in this movie, it didn't really work for me. So, I don't know. I would just say that I didn't hate it, but I was extremely disappointed in it. Okay, Mike, go ahead.
I just want to transition away from Star Wars and into a better Bad Robot property. Just to let people know that tonight is the season finale of Westworld, season 3.
Okay.
Which I know some people have had, pretty mixed opinions on the season, because going to try to be light on the spoilers, but this season has kind of moved away from the parks and more into, the outside world, which is, it does take place in the future. So I've kind of nicknamed this season Future World, and is, better than the actual sequel to the original Westworld movie. But I just want to let people know that tonight is the season finale. This season's only had 8 episodes, so shorter than the previous 2. But I think,
oh yeah, that's a.
I think that's good for the story that they're telling. Also, it's been renewed for a 4th season, so I'm definitely excited to check out the finale myself and see what seeds are planted for the future.
Cool. Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you guys. So, being that we're all stuck in this quarantine thing, and I know I haven't been online that much this past week. So, what have you guys been doing to survive the quarantine and to just kind of lay low while this whole thing blows over, this whole pandemic? Have you guys been like watching anything or reading anything?
Jacob?
Well, recently I've been keeping myself busy doing the Marvel reviews, which have been consistently popular. So they've gotten a consistent number of likes, Facebook likes. So I got that going for me. I just want to keep myself busy at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that. I think this is a good time to reflect on the biggest movie franchise that there was before. Probably the last one that will be ever, essentially.
So, are you going back and rewatching the movies as you write about them?
Yeah, basically, I'm doing a piece on each one, and it's
Oh wow,
it's been fun. It's been nice kind of
that's
watching the
intense.
Marvel movies in a new context than I did about a year ago. Yeah, so. Yeah, I got something to put on my resume, essentially. So I write for a website. So
Cool.
Renegade Pop Culture, like I used to do
Yeah.
for the newspaper. So yeah, I've been listening to the podcasts recently, like the Toon Talk one. I've been doing I've been watching some old Angry Video Game Nerd episodes. Yeah, I forgot how much I enjoyed them. I've been. Yeah, I love the guys. I love James Rolfe. He's just one of the best guys on the internet, I think. Yeah, so I have
Class act.
yeah. So yeah, that's my way of trying to keep my head above water during this whole hullabaloo, and I
Do you feel like you've been going a little bit stir crazy, or are you still hanging in?
I'm hanging in, I'm trying my best to survive through this hellhole. Yeah,
Yeah.
just because what else can we do at this point? And also
True.
this year we have a whole breed of killer hornets in America right now.
Yay!
Yeah, we've been dealing with a lot of bug problems here too.
So
Yeah.
well, okay, it's your funeral.
Okay,
then.
Mike.
Well, okay, so Mike, your turn.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
So I've been plugging my friend PJ Campbell's channel a lot lately, and tomorrow night he's for his animated watch along series. We're watching The Simpsons, or the Simpsons movie. So this weekend I've been just like going through a bunch of random episodes on Disney Plus, which is, you know, we've talked a lot of shit about that app, but honestly one of the best things about it is that I can watch, barring a few exceptions, like I can watch almost the entirety of that series. And some of my favorite episodes that I've seen so far are you know, a lot of the classic ones like Cape Fear, the Lemon of Troy.
Yeah, that's a great episode.
Homer's Enemy, which which is probably one of the darkest
Top
episodes
10.
By far.
That's a top 10 episode.
By far.
And my favorite of the more recent ones is the crossover they did with Futurama.
Oh, yes. I need to see that.
I wish the episode was a 2-parter, because
me too.
Like, because the plot is so thick, and so rich with like a bunch of comedic opportunities that I just feel like 22 minutes is just not enough time. Oh, and the other episode I watched was 22 short stories about Springfield.
That the Simpsons Futurama crossover deserves a movie, in my opinion. Like, that deserves a feature length. Yeah.
Steam Cam.
And plus, it would just be like, it's a good way to bring back Futurama too, just for a little while, you know, because I love that show. Josh, what are your thoughts? And Kristal, what are your thoughts?
I'm just gonna be 100% honest here. I have never watched a Simpsons episode.
The fuck?
Really?
I love that.
Well,
really?
I mean,
really? The fuck? No, but I've never watched one. It's just because my family kind of, when I was growing up, they kind of lumped it in with like shows like Family Guy and American Dad. So I was never really allowed to watch them. And then when my family realized that there was really nothing wrong with it, I was kind of out of that phase of watching cartoons. So I just never watched it. I've never watched the movie, though I hear wonderful things about it.
Oh, it's Hans Zimmer's best score.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Josh.
I'm joking.
Outside of The Rock.
I'm joking, of course, with it. I was shocked that he scored that movie. No, like
Spider Pig.
Kristal,
Spider Pig.
You're gonna watch some Simpsons at the end of all this. I swear to God.
I think I have to now that it's out there. No, that's just another can of worms that I don't want to open right now. But I have a very strong grudge against Hans Zimmer.
We'll talk about that in a bit, because I just wanted to say, Simpsons, I haven't seen it in forever, but it's weird to say that I think it's very underappreciated now, because people just think, oh God, The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But they really were something magical. Like, watching some of those episodes, like the episode where Bart and Lisa are playing hockey.
Yeah, I just saw that last night.
That's a beautiful episode, and one of the ones that never fails to get like a tear out of me. And I even started tearing up when I was including it in Creative Burnout Part 3. It was where Bart is trying his hardest to pass his history class, and he gets an F at the very end, and he starts crying. And, you know, Mrs. Krabappel was like, what's the matter, Bart? I would have thought you'd be used to failure by now. And he's like, no, you don't understand this. I tried. I really tried. This is as good as I'll ever do. Like, it...
Yeah, that was tearjerker.
And the very last one that I just... will always make me cry is the one where Homer's talking about how Maggie came into the world, and it has probably my favorite gag in the whole series, with Homer turning into a whole bunch of different sperm cells, and he goes into the egg, and then it smash cuts to him in real life wiggling his arms, and then Marge is like, "Holy, stop that!" And
Oh my god.
and likewise, it has, in my opinion, the most heartwarming thing where he has to go back to the power plant after doing such a big show to quit, and Burns makes him hang up a thing that says, "Don't forget, you're here forever." And at the very end, he says, they say, "How come you don't have any pictures of Maggie in the, like, hung up?" And he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I have a picture of Maggie hung up. I hang it up where I need it the most." And at the very end, it shows a whole bunch of pictures hung up on that same sign, but he rearranged it so that way all the letters that appear on the sign, instead of saying, "Don't forget, you're here forever," it says, "Do it for her."
Aww.
Aw.
Jacob?
Okay, one of my favorite Simpsons episodes will always be the one where Homer decides that he wants to be obese so he can file for disability and work at
Oh
home.
my god.
Work at home. And so like he gains like 150 pounds just so he can, and he goes to the clothing store to I want something loose and billowy, for me to be comfortable. And he says, well, and the clerk says, well, we find and the name of the store is called the Vast Waistband, by the way. And he says, we find pants confining. We have a bunch of alternatives for the ample gentleman. We have ponchos, capes, muumuus, academic and judicial robes, Muslim body rolls. And Homer says, I don't want to look like a weirdo. I'll just go with a muumuu. So he wears and he just walks out of the store in a muumuu, and he later he tries to go into a movie theater to see Honk If You're Horny, starring Pauly Shore and Faye Dunaway. That's the name of the movie, Honk If You're Horny.
Oh my god.
And then the manager says, I'm terribly sorry, sir, but our facilities aren't equipped for your needs. What do you mean? It's just that a man of your carriage can possibly fit in our seats. And everyone's like, hey, fatty, I got a movie for you. A Bridge Too Far. And Homer says, all I want is the Honk If You're Horny in peace. And the manager says, sir, if you're going to settle down, I'll be happy to treat you a garbage bag full of popcorn.
Oh my god.
And of course, that's the episode with the classic press any key gag. He says, if on the computer, he says, if start, press any key. Where's the any key? I see Esk, Guitarl, and Piga. There doesn't seem to be any key. All this work is making me thirsty. I think I'll order a tap. Oh, no time for that now. The computer's starting.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's a classic
Oh
one.
my god. I just got it.
Guys, for some reason, I thought you lost me there.
Oh my god.
There was a contra episode they did once where they go to Rio de Janeiro, and that caused some controversy because that harmed the tourism in Brazil, apparently. Yeah, and there's like rats and diseases and everything, and it literally ends with Bart getting eaten by a snake.
I think that's why the show has lost a lot of its teeth, is because like it's a different world now, and a lot of the things that they could joke about are, I don't know, or that they did joke about are like frowned upon now.
Yeah.
And I think that like they couldn't get away with an episode like Homer's phobia, I don't think, in today's world.
No.
Yeah, I don't think that would work. or just like people would just raise hell about
Yeah,
it.
that was a real
that-
progressive episode back then, because it actually had
Yeah.
John Waters voice the gay character, because John Waters, as many of us already know, is actually gay, and so to actually bring that someone who's had the gay experience onto a show like that in the 90s, that was big.
It was. Yeah. I think for me, like some of my favorite episodes are like the Marge versus the monorail.
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's a classic.
Learning
And oh my god, I miss Phil Hartman so much.
God,
Like Phil
me
Hartman,
too.
he was one of the best voice guys on The Simpsons, and just one of the best comedians that I've ever heard, actors that I've ever seen. Like he was just so incredible. And I miss all of his characters, and I just miss his voice on there, like the Troy McClure. You know, it's just classic. Anyway, that was a great episode, and 30 Minutes Over Tokyo,
Oh, I like that.
which holds a special place in my heart because I just love that episode so much. That was the one where they go to Japan, and Bart finds his calling as a as what is he guts the fish, basically. He's like, that's what he does to make sushi, and so he just guts fish, and the fish comes alive and says, "Spare my life, and I'll grant you 3." And then he guts him. It was amazing. I love that episode so much. Also, You Only Move Twice, with my favorite villainous character, Hank Scorpio.
That is an awesome
Hank Scorpio. Yeah, Hank Scorpio, who is like a Bond villain without. I mean, there's even like a James Bond character, but his name is like James Bont or something. And it's so great. That whole episode, man. That's one of I think that's my favorite episode of the whole entire series. Honestly, You Only Move Twice.
Bane. John.
Yeah. And what it is that like they're about, like, he's torturing Mr. Bont, and he's about ready to kill him with like a laser or something, and then of course James Bont escapes and runs into Homer, and Homer, who's like Hank Scorpio's newest employee, like he tackles the James Bond guy, and he tackles him and stops him from escaping, and then all of Scorpio's soldiers go and they kill him, and Homer's just oblivious to this whole like world domination plot this guy's got going on. It's so great. Like, I don't know. I can't even explain how great it is. It's just amazing. Anyway, Mike, did you or Josh, did you want to go next?
Mike, if you're going to talk about The Simpsons, please go on, because I wanted to transition real quick to go back to Marvel real quick.
There's one more thing about The Simpsons that I kind of wanted to ask. I asked this in the group chat, but wanted to save it for the actual recording.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that like The Simpsons is still funny even after the generally agreed upon cutoff date of everything after season 9 sucks? Which I kind of disagree. I only disagree with that because season 9 was still like over 20 years ago, and in that 20 years there's been at least like maybe 1 or 2 episodes per season that have like still kind of held up, and also if not full episodes, then the couch gags are always something that even during a time when I wasn't really into The Simpsons, I would still kind of tune in or find like some of the couch gags on YouTube, because those are just an opportunity for guest animators to come in and kind of leave their mark on this iconic TV property. So yeah, what do you guys think?
Not really. I don't think The Simpsons is really funny at all. I do think that the magic has worn off in a way that it's just simply like you're so accustomed to this writing style that they have. Like they're like just trying so hard to be relevant and snarky. It just the thing that makes that funny, that fundamentally what makes that funny, is just gone. So they're just saying just references for the sake of references now. It's just not fun. Not only is it just not fresh, it's just not funny. It's just The Simpsons. I'm sorry. I know I'm not the only one to say this, but it just needs to die. Like, it's just embarrassing now.
I'm kind of going to disagree on that because I think that although not all of their shows are good, I mean the vast majority of them, I for me they still have moments where they make me laugh. Like even in the modern episodes, even in the episodes that they ran like last week, like I was laughing at some things. So it's not like they're completely gone. It's that it's it has limped on for the past few seasons, and it pains me to say that. But if they ever transition, if they like transform it into like a movie series or like a series of movies or something like they did with Futurama, I think it would sharpen up a bit. Because with the Simpsons movie, and that came out in what, like 2008? I mean, that came out way after season 9, and it was really good.
It was.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. I have the feeling that there's something still there, but it's just, there's a number of things that have gone against them, which is that the times have changed. The type of humor that people can get away with now has changed. And also the writers have changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you have more animated shows like South Park and Family Guy and Archer and all those adult oriented sort of comedy shows that have taken off from where The Simpsons began. And they also allow for more character evolution, I think, than The Simpsons does. I think that The Simpsons, one of the mistakes that they made was not letting their characters grow.
Yeah. Josh, your turn.
Kristal?
Well, I was just gonna ask a question. Josh mentioned in his video at the end about The Simpsons, and my question is, how would you even think they would end it if they ever did? How could it even happen now with how long it's been going on?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, interestingly enough, they actually did kind of make a series finale, though unofficially. It was called Holidays of Future Past, I think. And it was a look into The Simpsons in the future with Bart, Lisa, and Maggie as adults now. And I actually heard that was really good, even like especially by post movie standards. That was fantastic. I think that actually was made as a series finale because The Simpsons actually started out with a holiday special, the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a retroactive type of thing. It was like a preemptive series finale, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if the show were to end, I think what they should do is maybe not do that again, because that would be just a retread, but maybe, I don't even know.
They did
honestly.
do a retread of that.
How would you end a show like that?
They did. Days of Future
Yeah, they
Future.
probably have, I would imagine. But I don't know. I mean, until the actors are out of their contracts, I guess, the show will keep going.
Yeah, the only thing, or even like if one of the voice actors just dies. Like that's one way I can imagine. Not that I hope that it happens, of course not, but I do think that's the only way I can imagine The Simpsons like being done, is that's basically the only scenario.
Yeah.
Off of that, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josh. Sorry, I was just going to throw it.
Off of that, I've got an interesting idea of how they can end, which kind of goes into what I was going to say about The Simpsons, like if they're still funny or not. Here's the perfect way I think they could end The Simpsons now. And it would be, in my opinion, ballsy, because it would involve death. You end it killing Santa's little helper, or at least at least having the dog die of natural causes or something. Don't pull a Family Guy. And in that way, it kind of comes full circle. The series starts with Santa's Little Helper,
Oh man.
and you end. What better way to end the series than with a major character that was introduced in the first episode being laid to rest, and it's almost symbolic of the show. But
that would be just so brutal.
That's the thing. It would have to be done right. Which this is what I think with the Simpsons. I think they're still funny in some respects. Like the couch gags, like you said, are great, and I think the writing is good too in some areas, especially the background gags. Like one that I noticed when I was looking up like stuff for Dan Harmon later on for a podcast I want to do later. There's a joke where they had Dan Harmon cameo as himself, and he's in a college teaching writing. And you know how he has the story circle writing philosophy?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has Professor Harmon's story circle. I had to pull it up, and it has the circle on the thing, and it has all 8 parts, and it says basic cable, fired, network TV, fired, rehired, canceled, tango, teaching. And the whole time he's drinking, trying to teach these students writing. So I think there is good jokes here and there, but the thing that I think modern Simpsons is missing that puts it just above everything else, because with stuff like South Park, it goes so far over the top, but it's also relevant, I think, because of its political commentary, and Archer is just it really bays in its genre, the spy thriller and all that. Mm-hmm. And stuff like Rick and Morty is able to do what Futurama was never able to do, which is go far with its sci-fi premise, mostly because Futurama was on network TV and you could only do so much.
Yeah.
But what made The Simpsons stand out compared to all of that, and I think it's also why Family Guy is in the same boat too, it's missing sincerity.
Yeah.
Like those episodes that I mentioned before, what makes The Simpsons so special is that they felt like a family. They felt like they were growing. They had little things here and there that would make you realize they do love each other. And one episode that I remember from the post-movie seasons, I think Lisa was accepted into a really high-end school, and Lisa was starting to struggle. She was really starting to not keep up, and initially she was happy for it, but she was so upset, and later on she went downstairs to the basement and she discovered that the reason she was able to get into the school is because Marge agreed to do the laundry for the entire school's uniforms.
Jesus.
And Marge was killing herself basically just so Lisa could get into the school. And Lisa told Marge, told her mom, listen, I don't want this if it means you're going to be killing yourself and I'm not happy, and I don't want you to kill yourself for something that I'm not happy with. And it was such a powerful episode, and I don't see enough of that in later seasons. Like, The Simpsons is only interesting now when they go against the norm, like when they did a Lego episode.
Yeah, that was great.
That was pretty cool, but they don't take chances with their sincerity and having the characters grow or learn something like they do in the network style, but it doesn't affect them in the long run. Like Marge, like Bart stealing and Marge, being so disappointed in him that, she basically decides, you know what? He wants to do adult things. I'm going to treat him like an adult, and him wanting to feel like a kid again, or Homer telling about how he puts up with his terrible job just for his youngest daughter, or Milhouse just in general existing.
I miss them collecting comics, like Bart and Milhouse, like collecting like Radioactive Man and things like that. Like I miss the little touches like that.
Remember
I feel like now they just throw in they throw in a joke about about like an iPad or something, and they make a joke about it, and then that's it. Or they they'll joke about Facebook or something, and that's it. That's like the extent of the whole thing. Or they'll joke about video poker. like it doesn't. There's no lasting anything about it anymore, and that's the thing that's really hit me about the latter day Simpsons. Um, but I think that the show I still love it because it's The Simpsons, but I can miss an episode now, or I can miss a season and not care so much anymore.
Yeah.
Jacob, we'll go to you, and then we'll go to Mike because I want to hear Mike's take on all this because he asked the question.
Josh, I just want to add to what you were saying. I saw a meme on Facebook that someone shared that compared. It was brought up an old episode, like a season 1 episode called Homer's Odyssey, where it talks about how he gets fired and then he attempts suicide because he's unemployed, and it ends with him making that very heartfelt speech. Remember that? Remember? I don't know. I don't remember specifically what it was about, but it was a very hard episode. It was a very hard hitting episode, and it compared to a recent episode where Homer learns how to do the floss. Yeah. So I just want to bring that up. So Mike, your turn.
So a noticeable difference between like The Simpsons in the golden era, like the golden age, and Simpsons now is that because the show has been on for what 30 plus years, the biggest difference is that these characters have kind of like outlived their original intent. Because when the show debuted, they were like a direct critique of the stereotypical sitcom families, like your Al Bundys, your Cosby shows, stuff from that era. So
right.
So these characters were kind of written in very specific archetypes, but as time went on, and as the writers as the writers kept like entering and leaving the show, the characters have evolved, or in some cases devolved into either they became like kind of shells of their former selves, like the TV trope Flandersation was named after a character like Ned Flanders becoming more exaggerated in their quirks. So I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people have started to like fall off the show once Matt Groening, once the original team left the series and new writers and new showrunners took over. I think that's the point where people are like, yeah, The Simpsons is no longer what it once was. That being said, it's still the same voice cast. It's still generally the same kind of writing style, because a lot of people, because the show has been around for so long, a lot of the newer writers were fans of what came before, and also these voice actors have been with these characters so long that they could basically read the phone book and it'll still sound like The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But because it's not the original team, you're always going to have it's always going to be missing that extra, that extra secret ingredient,
Well, I think that if they ever want to do another movie, what they should do is just do a crossover with Simpsons and Futurama, just retread that, but make it longer.
Yes,
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Why not? Josh, did you have any thoughts?
No, I think that's perfect. Like I said, I wanted to transition to a quick topic, or I don't know how quick it might be. So I'm going back to Marvel real quick because Jacob's going through all the movies, and I know you're not there yet, but you reviewed Captain America: The First Avenger fairly recently, Jacob. And
Yeah.
Me personally, I love Captain America: The First Avenger. In fact, hot take. This is one of my Joshua hot takes. Everybody get your mitts ready. Get the aloe vera.
Okay.
I think that Captain America: The First Avenger is still the best Captain America movie.
That's fair, I guess.
This brings me to something that I really wanted to ask everybody in here. What did you guys think of Civil War upon reflection?
I think it's pretty good. It's basically Batman v Superman done right. Right.
Mike?
I don't know about that.
Keona?
Here's the thing. I think this is another one of those movies where when you're watching it like in the moment, I think it's really good and probably a better Avengers sequel than Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
But of all the Russo brothers directed Marvel movies, I think both The Winter Soldier and Endgame are better. But I still enjoyed the experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I'm gonna get decapitated.
Go for it.
I fucking hate Civil War. Upon reflection, I fucking hate it. I'm sorry. I know we've already gone past our fuck limit for this podcast episode.
There is no fuck limit.
Oh my god.
There is no limit.
I think it comes down to one thing that I realized, and I was talking to Kristal about it. Real quick, Kristal, what did you think of Civil War? We talked about this in the past.
Well, I mean, I didn't really care for it. When it came out, I wasn't really into movies too much. I was just like, oh, cool. Superheroes.
But it has your boy Spider-Boy.
I mean, that was pretty cool about it, but I don't know. I really couldn't give two shits about it. I mean, I should probably rewatch it, considering that. But, yeah. I mean, hearing what the comic book was actually like.
Because that's what I wanted to bring up, because I was telling Kristal how I don't like Civil War, but even then, I think Civil War is still a better retelling of it, or at least a better adaptation than the comic book version. And thinking about that compounded with watching a video by Cinefix about Kingsman and the differences between that and the comic that Mark Millar created, I've just come to the conclusion that I think I pretty much mostly hate Mark Millar as a writer.
Yeah, he's a writer that I have a very hit and miss relationship with. I think his work is very polarizing for me. I either will really enjoy it, or at least somewhat enjoy it, or I'll just be not caring.
With Civil War, just real quick. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jacob.
So Josh, if I understand, you hate Civil War because, as an adaptation, do you think it's a bad movie overall?
I think, in all honesty, yeah. To an extent, okay. Here's the thing. It's well shot. It's well made. It's well edited. What I have a fundamental dislike with it is the story itself. It is a better version of Batman v Superman. I am very sorry, Mike, but that's all right. That is one I will still dog on. I will appreciate Zack Snyder as a visual director in the same way as I appreciate J.J. Abrams as a visual director. But I don't know, just the the overall idea of heroes facing off against each other, I've only seen it done once really well, and that was Daredevil season 2. Like,
that is a good example.
And I think it's mostly because in that you have the two characters coming together and squaring off because of their differing philosophies, versus in Civil War and Batman v Superman, they have to manufacture differing philosophies. Like, Captain America, in my opinion, was in the right the whole movie, and Tony was only shamed into it because of the mystery woman. And it just kind of, I don't know, it just manufactures this conflict between the two of them. Like, I know they already didn't see eye to eye, but I don't know, just the fact that the reasoning behind most of the team splitting up already doesn't make sense. And this is something that I have a problem with the original story too, which is they don't explain the superhero act. Like, they just shine a lens on collateral damage in superhero movies, like, you did this, it was bad, people died on the sidelines, you need to be regulated. It's like, okay, what are you going to do?
Because it's a thin reason for them to even fight in the comics.
Exactly. Like,
it was a flawed premise to begin with, because you have heroes fighting each other over the Registration Act, which, by the way, the X-Men have had to deal with their entire lives. So, there's that. But I mean, like, yeah, and all of a sudden the Avengers do it, and all of a sudden it's like a huge deal. But I mean, seriously, guys, it's the flimsiest reason, it's the flimsiest plot device for them to use to have superheroes just fight each other and to have a superhero rumble, and for them to increase sales of the monthly comic, and that was pretty much all they were trying to do. So when you put that in a movie, I don't know.
Well, I think that up until that point, Tony had already come a long way after when he started. He actually is more aware of the result of his actions. I think, like, I don't think it's as forced as you're making it out to be, Josh.
It's just like, especially with Tony going on, like, jumping straight out of Age of Ultron, you see what happens when Tony tries to enforce his will on the rest of the world by trying to keep peace in our time. So what does he do immediately after that, seeing the repercussions of him trying to enforce his will and it backfiring? He decides to join with the government and enforcing his will on the rest of the Avengers. Hey, we kind of don't fill out the cracks. We don't draw inside the box. So I'm making it that you're going to stay in here or you'll be arrested. And Mike, go ahead.
I know this movie isn't really, popular among MCU fans, but wasn't Tony Stark going up against the government in Iron Man 2?
Yeah.
So, like,
but that was
I get
Tony.
it. Like, I get that. Like, he's obviously grown a lot since then, but still, something about like that change, and again, especially after Age of Ultron, I just don't really buy the, like, I don't buy the specific disagreement between Tony and Steve.
Like, there's a thematic disagreement between the two of them that they square off that is perfect. It's Tony, he's a man who's had to build everything himself. He's literally had to create what makes him special. And Steve, like he says in the first Avengers movie, everything that's special of you came out of a bottle. So you have one that went into it just by being him, with this Captain America. Literally, the serum just enhanced the best parts of him and made him the perfect man, but that's because he was already a good man. And Tony, I always got the feeling that Tony resents that because he had to do everything himself because of his terrible parents, or at least his terrible dad. So there's already a good struggle between the two of them, and seeing them square off because I'm more American than you. Okay, that's really distilling it to very minutia, but still. Keona?
Yeah, I think that I think there's a point in the movie where you can see where Tony is at, where his veneer kind of drops, his facade drops, and you can see where he's at, and it's the moment where he's trying to get Cap to sign off on the act, and and he's got the fancy pens, and he's got and he's sitting there, and he reveals what he's done to Wanda, and that she's stuck in the apartment basically, or she's stuck in the headquarters. And Cap just goes like, "Oh man, Tony, you always got to do this one thing wrong," And Tony's just like, "Oh, give me a break," And he breaks for a moment, and you see that vulnerability. And I think the thing that I liked about it the most was Robert Downey Jr.'s performance, because you could see how much of a mess Tony is.
Yeah.
Like psychologically, he's a mess. And then and to know that the guy who killed your parents is standing right there.
Yeah.
Even though it's not really his fault, but he's standing right there. I didn't blame Tony. And I think that if you think about it, if you think about having, let's say, a super powered individual in the real world, who is proactive and who is out there and visible and visibly affecting the world, does that not make you a little afraid? I mean, I don't know. To me, it would.
And kind of like
not like with
Dr. Manhattan.
Not like with. Right, exactly. Like that would be frightening. So I don't know. I don't know why as a movie for me it doesn't hit as hard as the other movies do in the MCU.
It's funny you mention that though. Like with Tony pointing out that Tony is standing right across from the man that killed his parents, because that I think also breaks the movie for me. Like I feel like the whole point of Civil War is to show that these superheroes, they're not perfect people, and I think in a sense, unless you're Alan Moore, you can rarely get away with that. But with this, the entire reasoning why Captain America keeping that from Tony, in my opinion, goes against everything that the character is fighting against in the movie.
Which character?
Captain America.
Yeah, I agree with you
Captain
there.
America.
I think Cap was very wrong.
The whole movie, I would understand Cap's side. In my opinion, I think Cap was in the right, just being like, you're only coming at this from being guilted in, and you know what? We've seen in the past the government can barely do anything, so why would they regulate us? So, I think you're being a little bit too hasty. But having his whole reasoning hinge on the fact that he loves his bro, and then him keeping the fact that his bro killed his other bro's parents, it's like, bro, that's messed up, and
that's anti-bro code.
In my opinion. And Kristal pointed this out too when I was explaining it to her. She was like, it's basically character assassination on that point from Captain America, who believes in truth, freedom, justice, and the American way.
Yeah, it's a pretty big thing to keep from your best friend in your, or best coworker friend.
Like, you mean to tell me that the man who just a movie ago was fighting against suppressing information from the government by revealing that the government was full of Nazis? The man who disclosed all that classified information because the world needed to know is going to keep the fact that his best friend killed his co-worker's parents?
Well,
but even then...
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Do you think it's possible that, recently, Cap's kind of whole arc throughout the Infinity Saga is he goes from being selfless to being a more selfish? I think this is an example of American Cap being a little more self-centered. Like he starts to become a little more human as the franchise goes on. Like we see at the end of Endgame, where he goes back in time to be with Peggy. I think this is just an example of him putting his interests forward instead of others. And I thought that was and he did do it to protect Bucky, his best, like the guy he thought was dead for like 70 years.
Yeah, I just hated that.
I suppose so. Just I feel like Cap is a smarter character than that. Like I think you could show that a little bit more by, in my opinion, I think the roles should have been reversed. Like Cap is on the pro-registration side and Tony is on the anti-registration side in the movie, at least. Like having Cap just kind of be very disillusioned and kind of on autopilot, just trying to forget all about everything that he's dealing with Bucky, and Tony just kind of being like, dude, you're not in the right here. And then having that just kind of be the motivation, and also having him side with the government just so that way there could be a chance of rehabilitating Bucky.
But Cap is not going to ever side with the government.
Exactly. So it's like it's a lose-lose in any case in this whole story. But again, at least it's not Mark Millar's version.
I think they did the best that they could, honestly, and I think it's still an entertaining movie, but for me it's a very hard one to rewatch. Like I just feel like there's a lot to get through. And I know everybody loves the airport fight scene. For me, I like it. I don't love it necessarily.
I really don't like
Something
it.
about it I don't care about. Yeah.
In my opinion, this movie also shows the Russo's biggest weakness with the Avengers. In that they, more so, I think people give Whedon a lot of guff because he does like same talk with his characters with dialogue. But in my opinion, the Avengers are still people. Like I rewatched the first Avengers and Age of Ultron, and I still feel like, yeah, they quip a lot, but it's quips in their character. And with this, everybody has the exact same jokes, and it's so annoying. And the one character that I think the two characters I think the Russos did better here than in their other movies, aside from Captain America, but even then, like I said, I really disagree with what the writers did with that, is Black Panther and Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. I agree.
But this brings a thing that I wanted to say real quick before. I don't know if you're worried that we're running too long, Keona.
That's fine. Keep going.
You guys have more than likely seen other Mark Millar adaptations like Kick-Ass and Kingsman and Wanted.
I haven't.
And Superman Red Son and Logan.
I've seen Logan, that's it.
I've seen Kick-Ass and I've seen Wanted, but that was like a long time ago.
And this brings up like a thing I wanted to ask, which is, when you're making an adaptation, do you stick with what the writer had to like lay down as a foundation, or do you just take the base of it and just kind of work your own unique version of it? Mike's already chiming in.
I think for me it depends, but yeah, Mike, go ahead.
It depends on two things: the material itself and what experience you're bringing to the material.
Mm-hmm.
I think what I like about Kingsman and Kick-Ass is that somehow Matthew Vaughn is like kind of figured out. Your mileage may vary on Kingsman 2, but he's kind of figured out a way to like take the premise from like Millar's works and kind of like and put enough of his own stamp on the material, like to make it his own, without losing like the core premise.
Yeah. What do you think, Jacob?
I think that Civil War, maybe my enjoyment of it really did stem from like comparing it to Batman v Superman. I guess like any conflict would seem more natural than Batman v Superman, but I think I think Movie Bobby did a whole 3-part piece of Really That Bad, just describing why Batman v Superman really is that bad. It's worth a watch, I think. And about the original conflict you brought up between Tony and Steve in the first Avengers movie, I think that was kind of already taken care of by the end of that one. So they did need to find a different conflict between the two, I think. And so I think it makes sense for Tony at this stage, when we're this far in the MCU. I think it would be a flaw for him to still be the narcissistic jackass he was in the first one. And like for Steve to be the goody two shoes that he was when he started out in the MCU. That's just my 2 cents.
It's really a rough line to cross with changing these characters and having defining sides with who's right and who's wrong, but still leaving it like open enough where you could still love them.
And then at the end of the day, it's Cap who's right, because basically everything kind of works out against the Registration Act.
Hey,
with Infinity War and all that.
Bro,
so.
I'm sorry my other bro killed your parents, bro, but are we still bros, bro? While I break out my other bros. But
and I'll send you a flip phone in the mail.
Well, Bucky was Cap's bro like for practically his entire life. Bucky was the only there who stood by him.
Again, at the very least, I keep giving it credit. At least it wasn't as cynical as Mark Millar's work. This is turning into a big rant on Mark Millar because
that was a very cynical time in comics, because that was around the time that Identity Crisis was out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Civil War and Identity Crisis.
Civil War came out 2 years after Identity Crisis.
Okay, so that was like, I guess that was like the answer to Identity Crisis in a way. I mean, I'm bringing that up because I'm rereading Identity Crisis and I hate that story.
But it introduced my boy Jaime Reyes.
Joshua.
Well, okay. No, that's Infinite Crisis.
Oh, okay. I'm getting it wrong. Fuck Identity Crisis then.
Okay, guys, I'm just gonna say this right now. I'm describing Twilight about Civil War purely as a movie buff. I've never even heard this Matt Millard guy before you guys brought him up. Okay, so
No. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're looking at it as a movie. Yeah, I understand.
I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that you guys are wrong. Okay, I'm not gonna die on a hill defending Civil War. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you I liked it. I had a good time. And from a more point of view, like they made some changes you didn't agree with, and I'm not gonna say that they were changes that I agreed with. You understand what I mean. It's like I'm not gonna tell you that. So this isn't really an argument that any of us can win. So just
No, I mean, I think it's watchable. I just have a hard time watching it, if that makes sense. I have a hard time going back and revisiting that one for whatever reason.
Just straight up, I haven't seen it again since theaters.
Really? Oh, wow.
So just
you could almost say this brought up a Civil War in the podcast.
Oh, not really though, because I wasn't that passionate about it. And I'm just like,
Nah, it's
um,
dude, and Jacob, you can tell me that I'm wrong because I like BVS, so
you like what?
you can tell me that I'm wrong. It's okay
You like what?
because I like BVS.
BBS.
I like Batman v Superman, so you can tell me that I'm wrong.
So, all right, well then you're wrong. Okay, okay. So, yeah, guys, I'm not gonna. Let's just agree to disagree on this one, okay?
Yeah,
That's fine. Dude. It's okay. You're gonna get final word because you're doing the write up. So I'm curious to see what you have to write about it.
True.
Honestly,
So, yeah. So you guys have your problems against it. That's fine. I'm just curious, Keona, what did you like about Batman v Superman? I promise.
What did I like about it? I ended up really liking Ben Affleck's portrayal of Batman. I thought he did a pretty decent job. I like the concept behind it. I like the idea that he sees the collateral. Again, it's the collateral damage, and decides to take it upon himself because he's Batman and he's kind of a dick. And and he'll go after Superman because of it. I like the introduction of Wonder Woman. I like that there's a little bit of a thing there between Wonder Woman and Batman, but it's not, And then Justice League kind of, I don't know what they did with that. Honestly, maybe put a period on that, put a punctuation mark on that one. But there was a little bit of a spark, and I like that aspect. I think the extended cut is better because there's more Superman in it. There's more Clark. And I love seeing Henry Cavill be able to play Superman. So, I think that there are good points to it. I think visually it's a really good movie. Like it's a stunning film visually. Do I like Batman as a mass murderer? No. Do I like Superman's portrayal as a guy who kind of like is above it all? No, not really. I don't really agree with Zack Snyder's take on the characters too much. But as it stands and for what it is, I feel like it was an okay movie. To me it was the equivalent of like an opera.
Yeah, I guess.
It was really overstated and it was really like there was no subtlety to it.
No.
It was just a very like big movie. And that to me is like it's kind of an opera in a sense.
Yeah.
Even the score.
Again, the things you brought up about Batman v Superman, the things you like about it, that's kind of from the point of view as a comics fan, in a way. Again, so it's really hard for me to argue against your points. Okay, all I can do is I can just describe to you what didn't work for me, and it's honestly it's nothing.
Yeah.
Why my problems against it are nothing new compared to the ones you've already heard a million times. So it's not like I have that unique an opinion of it. So yeah, yours is certainly unique. Okay, I will give it that, and I mean that in the I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, I mean it's I just take it for what it is, and I was just like, okay, well, I was entertained by it, and maybe I was going through that time in my life where I needed something like BVS. I don't know, maybe it was just the movie that I neaded at the time. So okay, Mike, what did you have to add to that?
Explain yourself.
It's well, if you want to know my thoughts, I did write a long letterbox review about 4 years ago, but I just want to take this opportunity to transition to probably one of my favorite moments in the most recent episode of Harley Quinn, which starts off with the writers basically making fun of the extreme toxic fanboys.
I've seen that.
You can find this clip online. So there's two different fanboys. One's wearing a Release the Snyder Cut T-shirt, and the other one is wearing The Last Jedi is not canon. And they're just kind of making like they're making fun of like the premise of Harley Quinn, how they're like, I don't watch this show, and he's like kind of like making fun of the show, but but according to him, he hasn't watched it. So it's just kind of it's a funny way to start off an episode that doesn't even include Harley or Poison Ivy. It's actually like it's kind of a Batman solo episode set in the Harley Quinn universe.
Mhm.
And it's just a funny way to start off that episode while making fun of toxic fanboys on the internet.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is, like, as someone who is a fan of Zack Snyder, even I kind of find the humor in it, because we all know, like we all know about the stereotype of Snyder Cut fans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
telling the truth, I am a fan of Zack Snyder fundamentally as a director. I do think he does have a good
Yeah.
grasp on visual style. I do think he is a legitimately talented guy. I always, back then when I was younger, like 18 or so, I kind of said that he was like the thinking man's Michael Bay. Like he's Michael Bay if Michael Bay has talent, essentially.
That's a rant for another day.
Yeah. So, yeah, 300 and Watchmen, they're still brilliant adaptations. They're just gorgeous to watch. He does have a strong sense of how to tell story through visuals, and they are, like, he does understand the core ideas of the comic book that he's adapting, and he does a pretty good job, I think, of doing that. Um, I even think we mentioned this, Kristal. Remember the Owls of Ga'Hoole? Yeah, that was Zack Snyder.
You know what? If this podcast episode gets 10 likes on the website, I will force Kristal to watch The Owls of Ga'Hoole.
No, don't say force, because I think it's pretty good.
Oh my god.
So everybody share this all over the place. Yeah, the force is a bad thing, but if this episode gets 10 likes on the website, Kristal, you're gonna watch it.
You're gonna strap her in the Clockwork Orange chair.
Oh my god.
You know she hasn't seen it yet. Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, Chris, what's your tolerance for violence and just messed up movies? Do you have a high tolerance of that?
Yeah, I guess I could say that. The only thing that I don't like is like needlessly gory stuff.
It's not
But if it
gory.
actually, like,
There's just
Yeah.
more sexual
No,
imagery in that.
yeah, I can
Mm.
handle that kind of stuff. If it's
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
like I'm gonna be going to college to study forensic science, so
Oh yeah, that's a good. Just watch it with a little discretion, okay? Just
oh yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard stuff about it. I know
Yeah.
it's a heavy hitting movie.
yeah. So anyway, Owls of Ga'Hoole, which is not a heavy movie.
Yeah.
You know, I gotta say though, to your point on Zack Snyder being a visual filmmaker and all that, being a really good visual filmmaker, I like that he was trying to move things away from the MCU aesthetic.
Yeah.
Like, I like that he was trying to do something really different with the DCEU, and he was kind of the architect of that for a while. And I think it was interesting to have two different perspectives on superheroes.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't end up working. But I wish that it had, because I would have liked to have seen his version of Justice League. It's not that I wouldn't have. I just think that the audiences maybe didn't respond to it as strongly as people had hoped.
It's
But
especially sad when you remember the reason why he stepped down from Justice League was because his daughter committed suicide.
yeah,
Yeah. And yeah, I just I do respect that. I just wish that his different take on superheroes was a little more organic, because I think that kind of attitude kind of fits into comic fans' ego. Like, oh, this is better than the MCU because it's heavy. Oh, it's dark. Oh, it has a part where Superman drowns in human skulls. It's like it just seems a little. It's just a little edgelordy for me, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Josh, are you serious?
Mike,
Did you just get a cup of milk and Oreos?
Yes.
My God.
Sounds really good, actually.
All right, wait. Quick
Mike,
question
did you have anything else?
Quick question for everybody.
Okay.
Oreos or Chips Ahoy?
Chips Ahoy.
Oreos, duh.
It's tough for me.
Ahoy.
I don't know. I'm either.
Civil War 2.
I'm either.
Oreos versus Chips Ahoy.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike, go ahead.
What was I gonna say?
Sorry.
I had a thought and I lost it. You know what? I'll just say what I've been saying pretty much this whole podcast. Watch Harley Quinn because it's great.
And watch Prince of Egypt because it's great.
Yes.
Because we didn't mention Prince of Egypt
if
yet.
you take nothing else away, watch those two things.
From any of our podcasts, really.
How many times?
And also, all hail our Lord and Savior, Jared Leto.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, guys, so we've gone over 2 hours and 16 minutes now, so I think that it's about time to wrap this one up. But it's been a good show.
Surprisingly,
do you guys have any recommendations?
You know, one thing that I've been really into lately? Go play Journey.
Ooh.
Because for one of my assignments for band, we had to, play some music that from pop culture and figure it out ourselves without any sheet music. And I decided to play Apotheosis, which is a track from Journey.
Yes.
And I had to translate it from cello to clarinet, and it took me the better part of a week. But
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was really fun. And it was amazing how you listen to a piece of music and you listen to it over and over and over and over again, and you just kind of get tired of it. I tried playing that for how many times did I try recording that?
It was 12 times.
No, it was more than that. It was probably 24 times that I tried recording that. And it was until the last try that I finally got it down. But even after all those times of listening to it over and over and over again, I still loved listening to it. It's so beautiful. And the game is just as beautiful.
Absolutely. That's one of my favorite gaming soundtracks, I think, of all time. Yeah. Austin Wintory is the name of the composer. He's so good.
Definitely.
Yeah, and that game reduces me to tears every time.
Same. Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, because I think that game is a metaphor for life, honestly. I really do. I think that game is all about, it's the levels, where you start and where you end up, it's all about life, basically. It's a journey of life. So for me, it's awesome. Great game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
One thing you didn't mention, Kristal, and you were into it for a while, on a whim. I showed her The Mask of Zorro.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, good movie.
That was a while ago, though.
That was a while ago, but I'm surprised you haven't brought it up. That is not only is it a good movie, it is a sexy movie.
Oh, yes.
It is that.
I got 2 recommendations. One that would have sparked a debate, which, Mike, you recommended it. We'll have to do it on another podcast thing. But I've been listening to the Beach Boys a lot lately. And I listened to Pet Sounds for the first time. It was my first album I ever listened to from beginning to end. What an album, especially for these times as we're living through the great lockdown of humanity right now. Hearing something like the Beach Boys, especially one of their best albums, if not their best, it's magical. Pet Sounds. My favorite tracks on that are "Wouldn't It Be Nice" and "God Only Knows." And show-wise, we talk a lot about Harley Quinn. I'm going to throw out a recommendation that not a lot of people say, which is Doom Patrol.
Yes.
Ah.
Go ahead, Mike.
First of all, about Pet Sounds, that album is incredible. But if you're a Beach Boys fan but haven't really listened to a lot of the Beatles, I would recommend the album Rubber Souls, which Pet Sounds is pretty heavily inspired by. That and Abbey Road are my two favorite Beatles albums. Like, I think those in my opinion are like when the band was, really like at the top of their game. Also Revolver's too good too. And on the TV side of things, Doom Patrol is great. That will be simulcast on both DC Universe and HBO Max when that drops at the end of the month. Another TV recommendation, Rick and Morty, like the second half of season 4 premieres tonight.
Hell
so
yeah.
Check that out. And as I mentioned earlier, Westworld season 3 concludes tonight as well. So a lot of good TV happening.
All right, and Jacob, anything you want to add?
I was just gonna recommend watch the MCU again, but yeah, that's a little stale. So we've already talked about it so much, but actually, my favorite singer of all time, definitely my favorite female singer right now is Lisa Hannigan. Does that ring a bell to you guys?
Sounds familiar, yeah.
Yeah,
Lisa
sounds
Hannigan.
familiar.
Some Steven Universe. I don't watch
Yeah.
Steven. I just know that she voices a major character in that. Blue Diamond, I think is her name. She's just a heavenly singer. She's just like this. It's like this. She has this mesmerizing voice to her. Like it's very calm. I've been listening to her a lot lately. It's just the nice kind of music for the soul, for the very troubled soul right now. I think. Yeah, it's a very very angelic, very mystical voice. I think it just helps. So, yeah, Lisa Hannigan. Check out some of her work. She's worth a listen.
Cool. All right, and for me, I've been watching a lot of my like TV comfort food, sort of like my comfort food series, I would say, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I've been watching that season 3, which is one of the best seasons. I've been watching some Smallville, even believe it or not.
Ooh.
Season 5 is the one that I'm on, so that's interesting to see after a while. Also, Lucifer, very good show. I would definitely recommend that one. So if you guys aren't allergic to having fun with the devil, it's a good show. And Tom Ellis, man, he's such a good actor. I love that guy. He's awesome in the lead role. As far as I'm gonna go ahead and recommend some comics as well. I'm gonna recommend, and I know I've been talking this up for a couple of the episodes. Bloodshot from Valiant, very good comic. It's better than the movie. Go read the comic. It's so good. And I'm gonna also recommend, what was it that I just read? Wait a minute. I've been reading a bunch of stuff on Comixology, so let me see real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and recommend, apart from Bloodshot, Well, I would say Lazarus is a book that not a lot of people have heard of. It's a very good book. So go ahead and read that. Go on Comixology, seriously, guys. Digital comics are pretty awesome right now because that's like, or if you can get to a local comic shop, I would say do it. But yeah, so Lazarus and Bloodshot are both awesome series that you should be definitely checking out. That's about it for me. Like I haven't really been watching movies lately because I've just been a little bit burned out on movies. So yeah, I would say and play Final Fantasy VII Remake if it's at all in your wheelhouse. You will definitely enjoy it. And then join us for that spoiler show that we're gonna do. I don't know if it's this week or maybe next week, but we'll have one.
Well,
So
I gotta finish it up then.
yeah, finish it up, man. If not this week, we'll do it next week. All right, guys. Any final thoughts? Any sign offs you guys want to do?
Just stay safe and just do what brings you joy because that's our main escape right now. So yeah, just keep calm and just watch movies and listen to music and play video games and read comics.
And listen to the podcast.
I thought you were going to say keep calm and
And
I thought you were going to say keep calm and carry on. Which we all should be doing, though.
If you're able to, please go check out my 3-part series on YouTube. I tortured everybody in this house for a week, or just over a week, editing that, and I'm very proud of it. And for anybody who might be struggling out there creatively or just might feel burnt out in general, I know things are tough right now, and especially with states starting to reopen and everything, there's probably a lot of fear that some people are feeling, but just know that we're going to get through this and it's going to be okay. You're strong and you're able to accomplish anything. And if you don't feel your best, that's okay. Just we're all here together. And please subscribe to my channel.
That's another thing. Please, I forgot to mention, just please, keep reading my reviews. You guys, it's exciting. Them really is what keeps me going. You guys enjoying reading them, I should say. That's what gives me joy. And by the time this podcast comes out, my Avengers review should be up. There's a lot to dissect in that one.
Sounds good. And where can everybody find you guys?
Well, you can find me on Facebook. I'm Jacob Crable, and I am also a writer for Renegade Pop Culture, so you can find me on there easily.
Mike?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CaptainK42. Read my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And just check me out at my name on all the various Facebook groups, including the one for Renegade Pop Culture. And check out the website, renegadepopculture.com.
You can find me at Twitter at JSH Lozano, YouTube JoshBoy64, Facebook Joshua Lozano. I'm in the group. You can talk with me there, where you can discuss if you like Civil War or if you think I'm full of it. That's about it. That's shortest plug. Woo!
Finally. You can find me on Twitter and TikTok under at simply_ragu816, and you can also find me on Facebook on the Renegade Pop Culture group under Kristal Gillum. And yeah, that's it for me.
All right, guys, you can find me on Facebook at Keona Tang. That's KeonaTang. You can also find me on Twitter at the same name and on Instagram at Renegade Pop Culture. And of course, as you've heard, the website, renegadepopculture.com. And we also have the Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/RPC42. We want to thank you guys. We know that this podcast ran a little bit long, but it was pretty awesome to do. So thank you guys for co-hosting with me, and thank you for making it this far on the podcast. And may the 4th be with you. Happy Revenge of the 5th, in case this is not up by then. And also, Tell that to Catch Club. All right, see you guys later.
Bye.
Later.
Bye bye.